This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Well. So Deontay Wilder has finally decided to come out of hiding. If you guys remember a little while back there when Anthony Joshua was touring America for his brand as part of Under Armour, JD Sport, and of course AJ Boxing. Of course, he was going on talk shows, he went to basketball games, all that kind of good stuff. Wilder went very quiet, didn't he? With the excuse that, you know what, his mind was on the White House with Jack Johnson, all that kind of thing. Okay, fine. Either way, he went quiet. Joshua went over there last week and he spent the week in New York, in and around Manhattan, all that kind of area, having a great old time going on talk shows with Max Kellerman, with Jalen and Jacoby, and whoever else, okay? And of course, he's there not necessarily for his brand, but because he's promoting DAZN. Obviously, DAZN had their show with Canelo, Rocky Fielding. That's why he was there. Anyway, while Joshua was there, Wilder went very quiet. And it's unusual for Wilder to be as quiet as what he has been. Every time Joshua goes to America, he's very quiet, okay? Even though for the longest time, a lot of people are saying Joshua is trying to avoid fighting Wilder in America because he can't get in there because of a visa, because of his previous criminal convictions. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. The things that people will reach on, okay? But no. Anyway, so Deontay Wilder. Now, we're going to get into every little detail on this video. So I've got a feeling it's going to be quite a long one. So if you haven't subscribed, do so. Click the thumbs up. Go make yourself a cup of coffee. Come back and listen to everything because I'm going to break the back of every little thing here. And we're literally going to go through every step-by-step thing that happened with Joshua Wilder right up to today. Okay, so anyway, we'll get into Deontay Wilder's statement, and this is what Deontay Wilder had to say about Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua don't want to show or prove to the world he is the best. He just wants to walk around faking it, coming over here and making excuses. King Kong Luis Ortiz was also critical of Joshua, deciding not to sit ringside just over 2 weeks ago before his fight with Travis Kaufman. Ortiz says AJ should 1000% be there at ringside. With three of the best heavyweights fighting on the same arena on Saturday night, he should absolutely be there. I believe that Joshua is saving face and that he is scared. I don't think Joshua wants to face his critics and deal with the questions from the public and the media regarding his legitimacy as champion. Anthony Joshua doesn't want to answer hard questions. He wants the not so dangerous questions. He wants to deal with those reporters that will eat cheese with him and be real nice and ask soft questions. Deontay Wilder's statement. I'll put that article in the description box for you all to go over it for yourself. So let's break this one down real quick and then we'll move on to the bare bones of all of it, okay? So him saying that, even Luis Ortiz was saying that Joshua should have been there at ringside for the Wilder Fury event on December the 1st in Los Angeles. So if Luis Ortiz said it, wow, Joshua, you should have turned up then. If even Luis Ortiz is saying it, wow. What a stupid thing to say. AJ should 1000% be there. Well, no such thing as 1000%, is there? 100%, no more. Joshua doesn't want to show or prove to the world that he's the best. So if you look at Joshua, look at Wilder. Joshua's had 22 fights. Wilder's had 41 fights now, with a draw on one of them. Okay, so Joshua is the only one who has a 100% record so far. But he's on 22 fights and he is a unified 3-belt champion. Well, technically 4-belt with the IBO, but you don't need that for undisputed. So he's got 3 of the main 4 belts. And he didn't beat one person to get all those belts. He had to go through 2 people and defend against his mandatories. Wilder has been champion longer than Joshua, has a hell of a lot more fights, yet he's not undisputed. He's not even a unified. Okay, but we're going to get into that bit as this video goes on. Okay, so Joshua, he's not willing to show that he's the best. Right, okay, so he's coming over there making excuses. Well, actually, he went over there and said, I want Wilder. He is my priority. And he offered a whole crap load of money, which again, we're going to get into as this video goes along. Wilder went quiet, which is unusual for Wilder. And to be honest, it's quite unusual for Joshua to actually speak on these kind of things, as he doesn't have a fight in. He doesn't like talking about other fighters unless he's fighting them next. Hence the reason why he's got Eddie Hearn, his promoter, his mouthpiece. Eddie Hearn does all the talking for Joshua because Joshua pays him to do that. Okay, not via social media, but anyway. So, what else did he say here? I believe that Joshua is saving face and he's scared. He doesn't want to answer the questions. Well, he was answering all the questions. They were just wanting to ask about Wilder, what's going on. Even though he's saying, I've got the date, he's got the money, everything's ready. All Wilder's got to do is say, I agree, and let's get it on. April 13th, and the fight is on. What excuses is there really that he's been making? So anyway, it's actually Wilder that's been getting away with a lot of these soft-ass questions. No doubt about it. And every time he's asked about Joshua, he gets all emotional. Why? Because he knows it's him and his team that's ducking. And he's trying so desperate to try and convince some of his wildettes, the zombies, to go along with him. But anyway, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty of all of it. Let's break its back, break its legs, break its balls, break whatever else, and let's cover every single little thing. And let's see who wanted the fight between Joshua and Wilder. So, Deontay Wilder, listen up, Mr. I love my fans, I promise my fans, from which he's been saying this ever since beginning of 2017. We're now approaching 2019, and guess what? Still nothing. He hasn't done anything, okay? Mr. One Face, One Name, One Champion, or whatever the hell it is that he says. So let's take a little peek at who really wants to fight. Wilder said once that when a champion calls your name, you answer the challenge. It should never be about money and should be about legacy. So not money, but legacy. He also said, hey, listen, we're easy to negotiate with. Right, okay, of course you are. But then, of course, when Joshua approaches Wilder, not Wilder approaches Joshua, because Joshua, he does things the correct way, okay? He goes through the correct channels to put in offers. Wilder sits on his social media and makes stupid videos thinking that's contract offers. That means Wilder wants to fight because he's talking about another fighter. That means he actually wants to fight. Okay, I mean, are you really that brain dead to believe that? Okay, so anyway, Joshua puts in an initial offer of $12.5 million. When his highest payday is how much? $2.1 million against Luis Ortiz in his biggest fight yet. But we're going to get into that fight in a bit. So 2.1 million, he gets offered 12.5 million, which is what, 6 times more money than he's ever made. Yeah, he goes quiet for 3 weeks. Didn't even respond. Didn't even acknowledge it. Didn't even go back to Eddie Hearn and say, okay, thanks for your offer. We'll let you know. Nothing like that. And if something did like that happen, hey, listen, I missed that bit. Okay, but I remember sitting there for 3 weeks going, what the hell is going on? Anyway, so 12.5 million comes in, he goes very quiet. Then he comes back with a $50 million offer. Okay. This was after Joshua did the IFL TV interview saying, okay, if you believe that it's a $100 million fight, then fine, give me 50 million. Okay. Now, people took that as, give me 50 million and you can drop your trousers, bend over and do whatever Wilder says. Play Simon Says and all this kind of thing. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. But anyway, Wilder comes in with the offer via social media, on Instagram, Twitter, whichever it was, via social media and puts out a video, Joshua, 50 million is in the bag. And you got 24 hours to accept. No terms, no conditions, no rematch, by the way, as well as, and all that kind of thing. But you got 24 hours to accept. And the offer came from Wilder, not his team. Wilder, whose biggest payday was 2.1 million. Where the hell has he got 50 million from? Anyway, we'll get into that a little bit. So, anyway, Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, Joshua's mouthpiece, comes back and he says, okay, we're interested in the 50 million. What terms are you offering for this 50 million? Shelly Finkel refuses to have a meeting, refuses to discuss anything unless Anthony Joshua accepted the offer. Which, as anybody knows, in the state of New York, where Team Wilder is, where Shelly Finkel is, things said verbally, as long as you have proof of it verbally, it can be seen as a legally binding contract. So what is it exactly that Joshua is agreeing to here? He's agreeing to 50 million, but what else? At what cost? Because for all he knows, he could be saying, okay, 50 million, and then what? He's got to go on several tour dates. He's got to go He's got to train in America, but he's only allowed to train on a Wednesday once a month. You know, we don't know what's in the contract, okay? He doesn't know. So why the hell would he accept? But he says, you know what, I'm interested. Let me know. No, we're not having a meeting. But yet, you have to accept the terms. So Joshua accepts terms for 50 million when he doesn't even know what the damn terms are. And it's 24 hours, by the way, of course. So anyway, with the 50 million, just to put a nail in that coffin, as it turns out, it was to own the rights to Anthony Joshua. That's exactly what it was. And anybody who knows anything about Joshua, you'll know that Joshua has contractual obligations. Now, I'm doing all this because there's so many people that just don't get it, okay? And I hope that you all listen to the entirety of this video, okay? Because I don't particularly want to be repeating myself time and time again, as I have done. Because a lot of this I've done in separate videos. Maybe some people haven't seen all of it, hence the reason why I'm going through all of it. So to own all the rights of Anthony Joshua. Now, you have to remember with the contractual obligations, we're not just talking Sky Sports here, we're talking his sponsorships and his endorsements, okay? JD Sports, William Hill, Under Armour, Lucozade, loads and loads of sponsors have legal rights to be advertised when Joshua fights, as in on the ring turnbuckles, on the advertising stands around it, on TV, all this kind of thing, okay? That's what they pay Joshua for, and that's what he accepts. So he's legally bound into all this. So Sky Sports, as well as he must fight on Sky Sports. Now people say, well, okay, so he signed an extension to Matchroom for 100 million, which included 100% rights to Sky Sports to show off all his events. And people say, yeah, but that's after he signed the 3-year extension contract. And he got 100 million pounds, by the way, which is, what's that in dollars? $130 million. And you're really worried about 50 million. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, Sky Sports were always in his contract for that. This 3-year extension wasn't just something that they just put in there. Now you're legally obliged to fight Sky Sports. It was always there. Okay. But anyway, Sky Sports must air his fights. Very important to say that. Very, very important that you remember that bit. Okay. Because Wilder's saying how the money is in America. Now, here's the kicker. He had to come to the UK, well, I say him, his team had to come to the UK, Shelly Finkel, and speak to Frank Warren and BT Sport for it. Yet the money's in America, but it had to come to the UK to get it from Frank Warren. How do we know this? Frank Warren confirmed it. Go to Boxing Social, go find the interview. Okay? So, the money was not in America. Or maybe it is, but not if your name is Deontay Wilder. Okay? But of course, Anthony Joshua did do a recent interview saying, look, you know, I've never seen it in escrow. I've never had any kind of proof of it. But I don't know if potentially the money's there. There's a lot of rich people in America. Maybe somehow they could have scraped it together. Yeah, even though Joshua is not a star in America, even though nobody knows Joshua in America, yet somebody somewhere is going to stump up 50 million for him, right? Okay. So, are we all done with the 50 million now? 50 million was coming from the UK, Frank Warren. Remember what I said? Sky Sports. Joshua has to fight on Sky Sports. He cannot fight on BT Sport. Cannot. Impossible. All right? It's absolutely impossible for him to fight on BT Sport here in the UK. Around the world, sure, Team Wilder can choose Showtime. They can choose DAZN. They can choose HBO. They can choose any platform in America or across the world except the UK. All right? So BT Sport was never ever going to happen unless Wilder was a Frank Warren fighter who fought on BT Sport and Wilder became Joshua's mandatory and then won a purse bid. Then, yes, Joshua can fight on BT Sport. But Joshua versus Wilder is champion versus champion. It's a voluntary defense, not mandatory. Okay? And if Shelly Finkel, of all people, who's been around boxing since before boxing was even first mentioned, okay? Way back when he was riding around on the back of dinosaurs, if he didn't even know that, and yet everybody else in the damn boxing world knows about Anthony Joshua legally obliged to fight on Sky Sports, how did Shelly Finkel not know? How did Frank Warren not know? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Yep, they never actually wanted to fight. So anyway, after all that malarkey, no, we're not going to, just agree to 50 million without you giving us all kinds of terms or anything like that. No terms, no conditions, and all that kind of thing. Anyway, moved on. In fact, we're going to offer you 15 million flat fee, Deontay Wilder, which is what? 7-8 times more money than Wilder's ever made in his entire career. Wilder calls it crackhead money. But here's the thing, just to move like a way up to date, but we will go back to this point in a minute. We call it crackhead money, 15 million. He signs to fight Tyson Fury for a guaranteed flat fee of $4 million. But of course, there's an upside on the pay-per-view from Showtime if it goes past 250,000 pay-per-view buys. Some people say it hit 270. Some people saying 320, maybe 325. But let's just say it did 320. Okay, let's go that one. So it did 70,000 pay-per-view buys, more than what Showtime were looking to break even on. Okay. Wilder didn't get all 70,000 of those pay-per-views going into his bank account, you know. He got a very, very small percentage. This is how it works, people, okay? He got a very small percentage. So did Tyson Fury. So did the PBC. Showtime took a huge chunk out of that. Plenty of other managers and all these other kind of ones got a slice of that extra 70,000 pay-per-view buys. How much money do you really think Wilder got out of that? He'd have been lucky to have got 2 million. Maybe 3 if they're really giving, I don't know, want to give him a bonus. Maybe. But Tyson Fury would have got almost the same thing, because Tyson Fury was guaranteed 3 million plus the upside. Wilder guaranteed 4 million plus the upside. Of course, you have to factor in as well the BT Sport pay-per-view. How well did that do? Again, we don't know. Here in the UK, they tend to not publish pay-per-view numbers. Don't quite know why, but they end up officially getting released like a couple of years down the line. I don't know why it works that way. But although in Showtime, whenever there's a Showtime pay-per-view, it gets released within 2 or 3 days. Here we are, 3 weeks after the fight, nearly 3 weeks after the fight, and the official numbers have still not been released. Why is that? Are they embarrassed? Are they not sure? Is it a case of they're trying to fiddle the figures? Is that what they're doing? Who knows? But anyway, so Wilder would have been lucky to have made 8 million. 10 million to be stupidly generous, yet 15 million for undisputed is crackhead money. For undisputed. The fight that everybody wants, undisputed. It's not necessarily Joshua versus Wilder, it's just undisputed. Okay, but he turns that down. Even though it's not about money, it's about legacy. Right, okay, yeah, of course it is. So anyway, so he turns down 15 million. Well, I say he turns down. Eventually, he accepts it after how long? After how many weeks of it being on the table? It's like 3 or 4 weeks. Joshua, Eddie Hearn thinking, oh, okay, so Team Wilder just ain't coming back. They're not responding to emails. We've put in this 15 million. Well, we've got the WBA on our back to make the Povetkin fight. They then negotiate with Povetkin with okay, if this fight with Wilder doesn't happen, this is what you're getting as you are the mandatory, because you are enforced upon us. Wilder thought, or Team Wilder at least, thought that Joshua Povetkin had already been signed. That's why he said, I accept 15 million. Send us a contract. Shelly Finkel come out and said that, right? So they send them the contract 1 week later. Oh, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to send the contract back with comments a week later. A week later after getting the contract. Why can you send it back now? Why can you send it back like as soon as you got it? Well, there's no date and there's no venue. No date, no venue, but yeah, okay. So, Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales, not Wembley because September 22nd, Canelo Triple G Part 2, week before, can't do it pay-per-view in America, so therefore can't be September 22nd, has to be end of October, early November. Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales. Is that difficult to understand? But no, they also want a rematch. Joseph Parker didn't get a rematch, yet he's got 1 belt. He never got a rematch. And yet Parker's pay-per-view in his country. Wilder ain't. As I said, so the whole Wembley thing, again, people were trying to make excuses. Well, it's not Wembley, they lied to us because Joshua fought Povetkin. Yeah, fought Povetkin because Povetkin versus Joshua wasn't pay-per-view on Showtime in America. That's why. Anyway, so the WBA have enough of Wilder and his team stalling time after 3 months of waiting. Then what happens? They order the Povetkin fight. Then, of course, Wilder comes all animated again. See, they're ducking, and of course, all these fans come out of the woodwork. Joshua's a coward. He don't want the fight. And even at this point, you can quite plainly see who wanted to fight and who didn't. And it was Joshua that wanted to fight. It was Joshua that put in legitimate offers, not Wilder. Wilder said it's not about money, it's about legacy, yet turned down Undisputed for $15 million. My word. So Joshua's a coward, right? Okay. I mean, I really don't understand how that works out when it's Joshua that's actually making the real top class money offers to you, way more than what you deserve. Anyway, so Wilder says that all AJ does, Joshua is a fake champion, and when he fought Klitschko was old and past it, and all this kind of thing. The very same Klitschko who did what? Yeah, that's right. He knocked out Deontay Wilder twice in sparring and made him take a knee when Klitschko was hitting him with body shots. Even though Klitschko isn't even known as a body puncher, yet he managed to drop Wilder with body shots after knocking him out 2 times over the course of the camp. That's that Klitschko, right? The same Klitschko who Wilder said before Joshua fought him that he thinks that Klitschko will beat him. Yep. That guy who's old and past it. That guy who turned up better than any Klitschko we've ever seen before in our lives. Okay, that Klitschko. That Wilder picked to beat Joshua. Okay. But, of course, then after the fight, because obviously Wilder was in attendance there, he was doing the commentary for Sky Sports and did a great job. He really did. He was doing some punditry work after the fight, and, he was saying how he wants this kind of atmosphere back in America, and, he loves it, all this, and Joshua did really good, and then jumped back on an airplane and started chastising him once he got home. Do you see what I mean? Joshua has to be in a different country to him for him to have a go at him, right? Okay. So, anyway. So, Wilder, who has been, WBC champion for, 4 years? It must be about 4 years now, isn't it? Surely to God. And has only fought one mandatory. When you're supposed to be fighting mandatories once a year, and he push every 18 months, yeah, he's been champion 4 years and hasn't fought. He fought one mandatory in DAZN, who shouldn't have been a mandatory anyway, because he hadn't had a fight in 2 damn years, and the fight that he did have, because he only had one fight since he originally lost to Wilder, against Derek Rossi, where arguably he lost that fight. But you know what, Don King, WBC, Mauricio Sullivan, they all have a very clicky relationship, right? Of course. So anyway, one mandatory in 4 years. Let's also bring up the fact, going quickly back onto Vladimir Klitschko. Wilder could have fought Klitschko before Joshua. But his manager, who you all guys rate very highly as honest and truthful, right, go ask Shannon Briggs if Shelly Finkel was honest and truthful and paid him money when he fought Vitaly Klitschko. But anyway, Shelly Finkel said Wilder isn't ready. He's still a baby. He's not ready. He needs a few more fights. He's just a prospect. He's had 33 fights. What are you talking about? He's a prospect. 33 fights. Becomes world champion. Don't want to fight Klitschko. What the hell? But yeah, Joshua does, and then Joshua fought him because he's old. Right, okay. But here's the real kicker. Shelly Finkel, not only did he manage Deontay Wilder, he managed Vladimir Klitschko. How easy would that fight have been? The WBA super title would have been on the line, as well as the IBO and Wilder's WBC. So again, he had an opportunity to become a unified champion, but he wasn't ready because his manager, Shelly Finkel, who manages both fighters, said that Wilder isn't ready on 33 damn fights. He isn't ready. He's still a baby. He's still a prospect. How does that happen? But of course, Wilder only got that title because he waited so long. That's the reason why he had 33 fights, because he waited so long. He didn't want to fight Vitaly Klitschko for it. He waited for Vitaly Klitschko to retire and vacate the belt. DAZN then fought Chris Arreola for it, neither of which deserved a title shot, but either way, they fought for the vacant belt. Then Wilder seized his opportunity then to take on a weak champion. Didn't want to fight the real champion, Vitaly Klitschko. No. And once he won it, didn't want to fight his brother either. No, of course not. Even though that would have been, for Undisputed. But Shelly Finkel didn't want to make it because he's still a baby, still a prospect. Unbelievable. But speaking of unifications, when obviously Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko, all the belts got spread around. And guess what? Parker won the first title. So did Charles Martin. So let's talk about them two. Why didn't Wilder fight Joseph Parker? I'll tell you why, because Wilder offered Parker $2 million. Yet we're supposed to believe Wilder's got $50 million for Joshua when nobody in America knows Joshua, right? He's not a star. He's not popping in America like that. But yeah, you got 50 million. But you can only offer Parker, was it 2 million? I'm pretty sure that's what Kevin Barry, Joseph Parker's manager, said. Manager trainer. But you got 50 million in the bag for Joshua, right? Of course you have. But yeah, you didn't want to do unification against Joseph Parker. But yeah, of course, you come out on social media saying how you want that fight. So of course your brain dead fans go, yeah, see, he wants to fight. Of course he does. He wants to fight. Right, of course he does. Let's look at another unification that he could have done. Charles Martin, the guy who sat down like a sitting duck. I walk this earth like a god, and sat on the floor when he fought Anthony Joshua in round number 2. That could have been Wilder who fought Charles Martin for unification before Joshua got his hands on that belt. Why? Because Charles Martin's a PBC fighter. Deontay Wilder is also a PBC fighter. Yeah, both under the banner of PBC, Al Heyman. But yet, didn't want to pay Charles Martin. Didn't want to have a unification. No. What they want is Joshua to go around and start belt collecting. He's the one who beat Charles Martin. He's the one who beat Vladimir Klitschko. He's the one who beat Joseph Parker. He's the one who's been belt collecting while Wilder's been sat there waiting for undisputed without ever having to actually earn it. Unbelievable. Also, Wilder could have fought Povetkin himself, but ducked that fight. He was forced to fight him. He lost on a purse bid of $7.1 million. Okay, he lost the purse bid. Al Heyman lost the purse bid to World of Boxing, Alexander Povetkin. So they forced Wilder to go to Russia. Wilder wasn't very happy about that. No, he wasn't. Because everybody in the damn boxing world knew Povetkin was going to hand Wilder his backside in a handbag. Wilder was going to lose that belt in Russia. Everybody knew. Wilder went through camp, and for the last couple of weeks in camp, he spent time in Sheffield, before he went to Russia. Okay, Sheffield here in the UK, because we have a very, very similar time zone to Russia. I think they're like one hour ahead of us, or maybe 2, I'm not too sure. But the time zone's pretty good, whereas in America, you're talking a long old thing. So he come to the UK, didn't really want to be training in Russia, so come to the UK, in Sheffield. Alexander Povetkin fails a VADA PED test. But he didn't though, did he? He didn't fail the test, did he? He was within the legal limit, because the substance that he failed on, which shouldn't have been in the system anyway, he failed on it a tiny, minute amount, because that substance was originally legal. And they had X amount of time to cycle it out of their systems, all athletes. It just so happened that Povetkin, who was taking this particular substance, I'll say it again, shouldn't have been taking anything anyway, but it wasn't fully cycled out of his system by the time he fought Wilder. But the rules were you're allowed still a tiny little bit in your system, whatever the hell it was, and Povetkin was under that limit. Yet Wilder jumped on the very first aeroplane from Sheffield all the way back to Alabama. I'm not fighting him. He's a drug cheat. And Povetkin won the case. The fight should have happened. Wilder ducked him. Okay, blatant duck. So there's that one. Then, of course, all the fans are up and down all over Wilder. Why is it you're fighting Chris Arreola? Why is it you're fighting Arthur Spilker? Why is it you're fighting Johan Duapa? We're sick of it. Who the hell are you doing? Who the hell are you fighting? Who are these people? Start acting like a champion. Stop cherry picking. He gets forced by Showtime, Stephen Espinoza, to fight Luis Ortiz. That's right. You remember, they didn't want to show Wilder versus Pomace Tavern on Showtime. Wilder wasn't allowed to fight anybody except either Joshua, Dillian White, or Ortiz. He had no choice but to fight Ortiz. He fought Ortiz. Ortiz failed a medical. 1 hour before the ring walk of him fighting Deontay Wilder. He's failing a medical. He had to get an exemption to fight 1 hour before the fight. Dominic Breazeale and Charles Martin were on standby to replace him to fight Wilder on that night because he was failing because of his high blood pressure. The one that he originally failed for, remember that one? Yeah? So this old man, blood pressure, was failing. This is the guy who Wilder took on. But anyway, even in that fight, Ortiz gave him all that work. Ortiz, who has never beaten anybody of any kind of note. Ortiz, who has never been world champion. Ortiz, who's carried a reputation. Why? Because Tyson Fury gave him that reputation as a joke a few years back. So people call him the boogeyman. He never was the boogeyman. He nearly went the distance with Dave Allen. He went the distance with Malik Scott. You know that Malik Scott, the very same guy who Wilder hit on the gloves? On the gloves, and he went down like he got shot, even though he winked at Wilder right before the punch came in. Yeah, that wasn't a dive. Either way, Malik Scott went the distance with Luis Ortiz. That guy who gave Wilder all the work he could handle. Potentially, the referee should have stopped that fight in round number 7 because Wilder was out of it. Out of it. But Ortiz acted all amateur. Just kept trying to headhunt instead of going for the body. Had he went for the body, Wilder would have went down. But no, he was headhunting. He made a mistake in that way. The referee was trying to give Wilder every benefit that he possibly could. He even helped him walk back to the corner. Then after the 1 minute rest on the stool, he stands up. The referee walks him over to the medical team for him to have a look. Even though they didn't check him within that 1 minute. Even Paulie Malignaggi and the Showtime people who are straight up bloody Wilder's backside all the time are saying this is wrong. This is wrong. But Wilder needed help. Ultimately, he won the fight in the end. So, anyway. Again, you see people, Wilder, say that Anthony Joshua ducked Luis Ortiz. So let's revisit that one. As I said, we're getting into everything on this one. So, Luis Ortiz, Anthony Joshua ducked Luis Ortiz. Did he really? Anthony Joshua beats Vladimir Klitschko and gets the WBA World Super title, along with the IBO. Luis Ortiz is mandatory for that title. So therefore, the winner has to fight Luis Ortiz. Okay, we get that. But here's the thing. Here is the thing. Had Vladimir Klitschko won that fight, Ortiz was 100% next. If, of course, Joshua didn't have a rematch, okay? But had Klitschko won that fight, Ortiz was next. But he wasn't next for Joshua because Joshua was already IBF world champion and had a mandatory already put on him. At the time, it was Kubrat Pulev. Okay, so he had to fight Pulev next for the IBF or get stripped of it. So they made a deal with the WBA. The WBA agreed that he fights Pulev next because they know the rules. He was already champion first before he got the WBA. So he must fight Kubrat Pulev. They said to Ortiz, we know that you're next. We will fight you next. It's up to you. You can either wait for us or you can fight on my undercard when I fight Pulev. Whatever you want to do. Ortiz didn't want to do that. He wanted to go fight Wilder. He signed up to fight Wilder, then failed the PED test. The WBA then suspended him. They shouldn't have suspended him as the WBC didn't. So again, yes, I agree. The WBA should not have suspended Luis Ortiz. Either way, no matter what happened, he did sign to fight Wilder. It's not the WBA's fault the fight didn't happen because he failed the PED test because he didn't put high blood pressure medication on the forms, right? But either way, Ortiz was offered to fight straight after Kubrat Pulev. The Kubrat Pulev fight didn't happen, of course, because he hurt his shoulder or his bicep. I forgot what it was now. Carlos Takam stepped in last minute. That fight happened. As soon as that fight happened, it should have been Luis Ortiz. But no. He got himself suspended. So who really ducked Ortiz? Ortiz could have fought Joshua. He had the opportunity to fight Joshua. But he didn't do it, did he? No. So after all the messing about and all the blatant ducking from Team Wilder, they agreed to fight Tyson Fury. Guess what? With no date and no venue. Go back to earlier on this video. Didn't want to sign for Anthony Joshua for $15 million guaranteed because of no date and venue. Yet he fights Tyson Fury with no date and venue. He agrees to fight Tyson Fury with no date and venue with a guaranteed $4 million. Yes, there's upsides. But guaranteed $4 million compared to guaranteed $15 million for undisputed. I wonder why he chose Tyson Fury. I wonder why. Is it because he's been out the ring for how long? Is it because he was out of the ring because he put on so much weight, because he was inactive, because everybody in the game thought that Tyson Fury just didn't stand a chance against Wilder, including Wilder? Even Antonio Tarver, Tony Bellew, Shannon Briggs, bloody, I'm pretty sure even Audie Harrison was trying to call out bloody Tyson Fury. I'm making that Audie Harrison bit up. But you kind of get what it is that I'm saying. Everybody wanted Tyson Fury because he was vulnerable. That's why Wilder took the fight with Tyson Fury. So, anyway, far less money, no date and venue. Okay, Oh, but he does get a rematch with Tyson Fury. Of course he does. But so does Tyson Fury. Okay? But you know what? We'll get into that bit in a second. So Wilder thought that Tyson Fury was an easy touch. After all this time out, obviously with UCAD, the weight, the drugs, the alcohol, all this kind of thing. So quite clearly Wilder thought that Tyson Fury was an easy touch. And to be honest, he was. The Tyson Fury that fought Deontay Wilder was not a fully fit, conditioned Tyson Fury. People say, but he weighed around about the same as what he did against Vladimir Klitschko. Yes, he weighed in the same with fat on his body, with more fat than muscle. When he fought Vladimir Klitschko, he had more muscle than fat. That's how you weigh it up, okay? Hopefully now you get it, okay? So, anyway, he fights, what, a 70% Tyson Fury? This is what Tyson Fury's own dad said. A 70% unfit, out of shape Tyson Fury. He's come a hell of a long way, but he still isn't quite right. Even then, Wilder still couldn't beat him. He still couldn't beat Tyson Fury. A 70% Tyson Fury, he couldn't beat him. A guy who punches like you would punch a pillow. Okay, he doesn't hit that hard. He frustrates you. He's like a wasp. You can't land on him when he's at his sharpest. And Wilder couldn't beat this man and gets a decision draw, gets gifted a decision draw. Everybody in the damn world knows that Tyson Fury won that fight. And for those who say, well, Tyson Fury got hit to the canvas on 2 occasions. And he got knocked out. Did he? Well, if he got knocked out, then how the hell was he on his feet at the count of 10? I don't know anybody who gets knocked out and is up on their feet within 10 seconds. I don't know anybody who does that. So, no, he wasn't knocked out. He was just taking a bit of time. He just wasn't getting up in case his legs give away. So he strung it out for as long as he possibly could before he got on his feet. So he wasn't knocked out. Yes, he did get dropped twice, but you don't get dropped twice in a fight and lose the fight. Your opponent has to have done a bit more than just drop you to the canvas on 2 occasions. They have to have won another 2 or 3 rounds within that fight. Wilder did not. Tyson Fury won that fight. A 70% out of shape, not ring sharp, Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is a paper champion right now. But even on the build-up to all this, Joshua's still saying, come on Wilder, let's negotiate. Well, I'll say Joshua, Eddie Hearn is. Wilder and his team say, no, we're not going to talk about that fight until after the Tyson Fury fight. We have to concentrate on Tyson Fury. Yeah, Wilder has to, but your team don't. Your team can still talk. But no, they refused. And we couldn't quite work out why. Because it's not like you're really bothering Wilder, okay? Just wait until the evening where Wilder sat down, having a bit of dinner, resting. Hey, Wilder, there's an offer from Joshua, if you beat Fury of this amount. What do you think? Takes 2 minutes, right? 1 minute. But no. We don't want to talk about Joshua. We have to concentrate fully on Tyson Fury. Why? Because Shelly Finkel needs to concentrate fully on Tyson Fury, does he? Is Shelly Finkel getting in the ring? No, of course not. Is Al Heyman getting in the ring? No, of course not. But, as it turned out, Tyson Fury, and he said this on video, says that him and Wilder had a 2-way rematch. Yet Wilder gave Tyson Fury a rematch if he beat Tyson Fury. Now, I can understand Wilder getting one if he lost. But why would Tyson Fury? He agreed a 2-way rematch and said, we'll talk about Joshua after this fight. Knowing full well he had a rematch in the contract. Well, they didn't bank on, no, was a draw, was it? They didn't bank on that gift decision draw now, did they? No, they didn't. So now the wolves are snapping at your backside, Wilder. Wanted to know, now you've got a draw. Now you don't have to fight Fury next. Why are you not looking to fight Joshua? Why are you still making excuses? Either way, you couldn't beat Joshua. Sorry, you couldn't beat Tyson Fury. And there's no way in hell you could have beat Anthony Joshua on that form, in that fight. Joshua would have walked through you. Absolutely destroyed you. But no, anyway, you get a gift decision draw. I don't want to talk about Joshua until after the Tyson Fury fight. Don't tell nobody that we've got a 2-way rematch. Even at that point, surely to God, even at that point shows you he never wanted April 13th. And those of his fans saying that we don't care about people's money, all we care about is undisputed. Well, clearly not. Are these people, are these channels pulling them up about it? No, of course they're not. Of course they're not. It doesn't fit their fanboyism narrative. You know, you guys have the nerve to call me and others Joshua fanboys. Listen, I'm telling you the truth here. Have I lied on anything here? Have I said anything that I couldn't back up? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. And ever since Wilder got that gift decision draw, and now he's a paper champion, Wilder's stock has dropped through the floor. Because people know, a lot of his fans, who are even fanatical ones, are now turning away from Wilder. So no, listen. Now we're seeing exactly what it is with you. And his stock has dropped. People know Tyson Fury should be sat at home having Christmas dinner with his family with that WBC title on his mantelpiece right now. A 70% Tyson Fury beat you. And yet you want a huge money? You want big money for Joshua? A gift decision draw. So therefore you keep your title by default. And you want big money against Joshua. Right, okay, no. It's Tyson Fury that is the real WBC heavyweight champion and lineal, if you put any kind of stock into lineal. Personally, I don't really. But it's an important thing for the fans, so it's legitimate. If anything, Tyson Fury deserves a big slice against Joshua, a bigger slice than what Deontay Wilder does. Not that paper champion Wilder. Tyson Fury should fight Joshua next. But either way, it was Tyson Fury that sold that fight against Wilder. It was Tyson Fury, let's be honest, it was. He's the one who sold that whole thing. Without Tyson Fury, that event would have done what? Who else? What could it have been that Deontay Wilder could have fought? Tyson Fury, he could have fought Dillian Whyte on pay-per-view. He could have fought a rematch, a third rematch with Derek Chisora and got it pay-per-view. He could have fought Joseph Parker, pay-per-view. He could have fought his own cousin, Hughie Fury, pay-per-view. Joshua, pay-per-view. Tyson Fury could have fought virtually anybody, pay-per-view. Wilder can only fight Fury or Joshua on pay-per-view. He can't fight nobody else on pay-per-view. Maybe now Dillian Whyte, maybe, just potentially. Let's see how he gets on if Joshua versus Fury happens next. Who's he going to fight? He has no choice but to fight Dominic Breazeale, Mr. Pay-Per-View. Let's see if you put Dominic Breazeale on pay-per-view against Wilder. Let's see how well that does. That will do worse than the Terence Crawford original one. That one even hit 50,000 pay-per-view buys. Because Wilder's just not a draw. Tyson Fury sold the backside out of that whole event. He was the one who did it. He was the one who's more popular in his own, Wilder's own country. This 70% man who everybody knew wasn't ready, or shouldn't have been ready at least anyway. He sold that fight. He did. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's see you versus Breazeale. Let's see if you're pay-per-view on that one, yeah? And what makes it worse, right, is that his fanatical fans. You see, this is what I don't get about the two-facedness of a lot of them. Listen, I know a lot of them are defected now, and a lot of them are honest about it. But there's still some of them who are pretty militant. All right? His fanatical fans will go in on Oscar De La Hoya for wearing fishnets. Okay? Listen, it's funny, right? But still, they went in on Oscar De La Hoya for wearing fishnets. They went in on Adrian Broner for pretending to kiss Gervonta Tank Davis. Again, yeah, pretty funny, and yeah, okay, they went on him. Fair enough. But yet, they say nothing. Not a damn peep do they say when Wilder says he wants to be pregnant. Don't say a word. Double standards, this is what I mean. And you guys sub these people, and you watch these clowns and take them seriously like they know what's going on? They don't know what's going on. They lie to you is what they do. I mean, can these people who lie to you all the time, can you look in the eyes of your own children knowing how female you actually are? Making excuses for this guy. Seriously, it must be tiring making up lies to cover up the cowardness of a guy who you don't know and who that guy doesn't even know that you exist. He don't care if you live or die because he just doesn't know you. But yet you will sell your soul, sell your dignity, sell your reputation defending this man. You all don't want to fight, do you? You just don't want to fight. You keep making up stories just because you want to keep on getting views and stuff. That's what you want to do. Because you know that there are a lot of vulnerable, weak-minded people out there who are too stupid to question you on anything that you say. Or, even worse case, go have a look up for yourself. Are they telling the truth? In this video, I've told you the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But they can't do that. They make up stories for you. Now, listen, these guys lie a lot. Not everything, of course not. But they lie a lot. This is why I stopped watching them a long, long time ago. I don't care what it is that they do and say now, because I know, without even clicking on a video, what it is that they're going to say. There's going to be lies in there, exaggerations, not tell you the full story about things. Listen, you may not like what it is that I say about Wilder. You may not like it, and you're within your rights to not like what I say. But know this, what I say is factual. It's all fact. It's all truth. If I'm ever wrong on something, I will say I'm wrong. And I have done on a couple of occasions. But it's very rare that I'm wrong. Very rare. But anyway, moving on. I mean, the excuses from this man. Isn't it obvious that it's Joshua that wants to fight? Isn't it obvious? Joshua rolls up into the America and says, on your American TV shows, calling out Wilder, I want you, April 13th, I will double the highest purse you've ever made, plus give you an upside of it, so you can go promote it and make more and more money. Plus, you get a rematch, whether you win, whether you lose, whether you draw, I will fight you in America right after the fight. All I want from you right now is to accept double money that you've ever made before with upside, but come fight on April 13th at Wembley Stadium for Undisputed. Give your fans what you want. Come on, Mom Squad. Mr. Speak It, Believe It, Conceive It. What's stopping you? What excuse do you have now? What excuse do you have now? Joshua came into your own country and you went into hiding and come out with this stupid statement about how Joshua's a coward, yet you're the one hiding behind your sofa because Joshua's in your country. You could have went to New York and confronted him. You could have done that. But no, you didn't. Well, Joshua should come to my fight. Why? You don't want the fight. You've made it clear you don't want the fight. Why would Joshua waste his time with you? He just wouldn't. I mean, this is stupid. I mean, Wilder's all over the place talking about a Tyson Fury rematch and calling Joshua a coward. Really? Really? And as I said, he goes very quiet when Joshua rolls up in America and takes over. But now Joshua has come back, you start opening your mouth, okay? Yeah. And yet people still can't see what you're doing. Come on, man, this is what I mean. Your stock is dropping. People are starting to see you for exactly what you are. He's taken over America and will double your highest purse, give you a rematch in America. Plus, you can earn more as well if the pay-per-view does well. All you got to do is sell the damn hell out of it, sell the arse out of it, and you'll make a hell of a lot more than whatever the double flat fee is. It's not difficult. It's really not difficult. But just to finish with this bit. Do you remember about a month or two ago, Al Heyman's right-hand man, that Tim Smith, I think his name was, he said on the Boxing Boys that when Al Heyman is ready to make that fight will happen. In other words, Al Heyman hasn't been ready to make that fight. That's why that fight hasn't happened. It's Al Heyman, it's the PBC, it's Team Wilder who's been avoiding this fight. Even if you don't believe anything else that I've said previously in this video, just look at that part. That Al Heyman's own right-hand man said, when Al Heyman is ready to make that fight, the fight will happen. But what's Tyson Fury going to do next? Hopefully he fights Joshua. What's Deontay Wilder going to do next? Well, of course he wants Tyson Fury because no danger of him getting knocked out. Yeah, it's all about legacy, right? It's all about one face, one name, one champion, right? And, of course, he's going to want to fight Tyson Fury. Good money, no real danger of getting knocked out. And he can always get a gift decision draw again. Okay? Or potentially even a win next time. Gifted. Unbelievable. But will Deontay Wilder return the favour for Tyson Fury? Will he come to the UK, where it will be a much bigger fight? Earn much more money? Will he do that? Of course he won't. Of course he won't. He's an American champion. No, sorry. I want to apologise to all the American boxing fans. Sorry. He's an Alabama champion. Okay? Sorry, all the good people in Alabama. Okay, sorry. He's a champion. He's a paper champion, is what he is. Tyson Fury is the real champion. That's 70% out of shape. Tyson Fury should be the real WBC heavyweight champion. Anyway, no more games, Wilder. I expect you to accept Anthony Joshua's offer of doubling your highest ever purse with the upside, with a guaranteed rematch in America, win, lose or draw. All you got to do, April 13th, Wembley Stadium. And if you're not doing it, then quite clearly you're still soft. You're still weak. You're still a coward. And so are your fans. If you don't accept, you have no reason to not accept. I know it all backfired on you because you got gifted a draw. I know that secretly you would have probably preferred to lose it just so you can guarantee the rematch next, because it's in the contract, right? Two-way rematch. No. And of course, all your fans will keep on giving you credit, even though you just don't deserve it. You've never earned it. Joshua's done all the hard work and half the damn fights. Yet you want a massive payday. Come on now. Wilder, April 13th, Wembley Stadium. Make sure you're there. Everyone else, long video, yeah? Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.